Good evening and welcome to our Covenant Healthcare sponsored pregame show here on Bay County TV. Jeff Doan along with Mike Vincent tonight. Welcome, Co.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Wonderful being here. Thank you for the text this morning.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you in the neighborhood. We're looking at the Cross River rivalry, Les Jug as they call it in France, and Central's itching to get their print on here.
You bet they are. They had an epic game at our place last year, and we're hungry to get that thing back.
It is going to be a great game tonight as we look at both of these teams on the year, Mike. Probably the year started for both schools with a little bit higher expectation than they were able to achieve so far at this point.
I think that's absolutely true. We weren't looking to be 0-4 5 weeks ago, definitely. And I think John Glenn had some high hopes after last year's playoff run. So it's going to be interesting tonight.
If you look at a game, revenge factor, I don't know if that's a good term or a good phrase, but last year's game was first half dominated by Central and second half dominated by John Glenn. The team that dominated at the end of the game was the one that won the game, and I really think from Central's standpoint that could help with their pregame preparation and their focus this week in practice.
I was thinking the same thing on the way here. One of these teams has an axe to grind. Both are hungry. Central has that axe to grind, and they're going to try to grind it tonight. Absolutely. I have one player that I have several players in my classes during the day, and one of them told me that they had an outstanding week of practice and everything started to click. As an old coach, I know sometimes that's great luck and sometimes it doesn't work out on Fridays. If it's one thing I learned over the years, you can't really predict what kids will do. So.
Well, they're 15 through 18 years old, and that pretty much tells you that they'll be consistently inconsistent.
That's exactly right.
Now, when you look at the John Glenn side, obviously everything surrounds eighth-year junior Joe Blong. This kid started as a freshman. Seems like he's been here forever, but he's just another kid that seems to make plays when a broken play is in there.
The first and only time I saw him was at Engel Stadium last year, and I was unbelievably impressed. He was really something and had the game of his life. And I got to believe that game really got him on the map and sure got our attention.
Well, Wolscheid is his new best target. O'Hare was his best target out with an injury that's probably going to keep him out through the season. Brian Elder has a pretty special tandem to work with offensively as well.
Yes, he does. The offense has not clicked in the first 4 games. Something tells me it's going to start clicking tonight, and I'm going to go with what my student said earlier in the day. We're going to see a different Central team tonight.
DeVell Washington and Unique Houston, given time, given opportunities, are playmakers, but I would say the place that both these teams have struggled this year has been the consistency of the offensive line.
I would say that's true also. We need to make the run happen to set up the pass, and we need to make the passes happen to set up the run, and that starts with the offensive line.
So when you look at this game, big play possibilities there, but a game that I don't really feel is going to be a high-scoring game. So I think the team that wins the turnover battle has a hand up in this game.
It's anybody's guess tonight, Jeff, and to be honest with you, I was thinking it would be a high-scoring game until I drove here and caught that 30-mile-an-hour wind, so now it's up in the air.
And Mother Nature's 30-mile-an-hour plus wind, you know, you prepare a game plan all week long, Mike, and then you scale that game plan back greatly when you get the confirmation of this, and it will be a team that can adjust their game plan quickest on the fly that may have another advantage.
That is a great point. You put me in mind of an old boxer quote. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the nose, and then you go to a different plan.
You go to plan B. So that about puts the wraps on our Covenant Healthcare sponsored pregame show. Back in a minute with the crosstown rivalry. This is match number 4, and it should be special right here on Bay County TV.
How's married life? Are you ready to have a baby? Baby, baby. How about that baby? Ooh. I'm not getting any younger.
When you are ready, with the only neonatal intensive care unit in the Great Lakes Bay region, Covenant is the safest place for your delivery. Go to mycovenantbaby.com.
Good evening and welcome Jeff Tone and Mike Vincent along with you. It is the Cross River rivalry, the Cross Town game. Central trying to do what they can to beat that 0-3 bug as that ball kicked deep and will roll at about the 1 yard line. McKenzie's going to pick that up and try and come upfield. He's down at the 16-yard line. As boy, he had that thing hit the ground, Mike. It rolled and rolled, but it stopped dead short of the end zone, and he had to bring it back out.
Yes, he did, and that was great special teams coverage by the Bay City Central Wolves. Looks like they might be ready to go. That was Thomas Keenan, number 5 for the Wolves on that tackle.
Early on, it's going to be interesting, Mike, to see if there's going to be such a thing as a feeling out period between these two teams. I think that they have pointed to this game since the season started, and I think they pull out all the stops.
I think you're right, Jeff. This is something neither team has anything to lose and everything to win tonight, so I don't see any holding back.
Joe Blong, the quarterback, pitch coming to the near side of the field. And there's a holding call that they are going to pick up as about a 4-yard gain on the play goes to number 6, Daniel Wolscheid. And this will be a penalty that Central will more than likely accept. And it's at the 15-yard line, Mike. So our math says that they'll take that penalty back, and it'll be first down and 17.5 yards to go because it'll be a 7.5-yard penalty.
First break of the game goes to the Bay City Central Wolves. That was number 3, Unique Houston uncontained for Central.
And what you had there is you had a trip look to this side of the field, Mike, and you ran motion to this side. So something that I don't know if they've run yet this year or not, but Central was well prepared. That ball goes back. Your math on the abacus was correct as mine was to the 7.5-yard line. First down and 17.5 yards, as now Joe Blong will have his heels on the goal line, Mike.
That's right. We'll see what the junior has in store for us this year. He sure did have a lot in store for Bay City Central last year.
As Joe Blong comes up the middle, Central has a defensive spy in Ben Prevost. As he was all over that, he looks like he's going to have one job tonight, Mike, and that's going to be spying Joe Blong.
That sounds like a good plan. Number 22, Ben Prevost, looks like he's all over it tonight. As you probably know, Jeff, that he's one of many, many Prevosts that have seen the field at Bay City Central High School.
It's a very long-standing tradition name, certainly, and he's done nothing to take away from the great pride and excellence that name has brought over decades.
That's right.
Third down and a bunch. Third down and about 17 yards to go from about the 8. Joe Blong has Wolscheid in motion again. And they're going to try a little pitch pass downfield. And that pass is complete to the 37-yard line. Defensively, Bay City Central Sidak back there. And that was the same look that they did to the opposite side of the field on the first play. They threw a little razzle-dazz in there.
John Glenn going to their bag of tricks a little early here, and a nice pickup. Sidak with a touchdown-saving tackle for the Wolves already.
First down, 10 yards to go for the John Glenn Bobcats, getting out of their own shadow as they've now got good field position. Joe Blong trying to come this way. He's going to have to try and throw cross-body. He's going to just throw that thing away. Look at the defensive white jerseyed pursuit for Bay City Central. Really no place for Joe Blong to go. That is a third-year veteran quarterback that just decided, I better just throw this away and live for another down.
One of the first things young quarterbacks need to know is they don't have to complete every pass. Sometimes your best play is to throw it out, get rid of it, and start over again. That was number 40, Andre Jones, bringing the heat for the Wolves.
As now they go to a little different look. They've got twins in the backfield. Both offset. A little pro set look in between Joe Blong. And we've got movement on the offense, and that would be the wide receiver to the wide side of the field, and that would be Austin McKenzie. And I'll tell you, defensively for Bay City Central, Sidak right away turned to the official and wanted to make sure that he saw the same thing.
That's right. You know, the defense for Central has been the big question mark all year long, and this might be their breakout game this week.
Yeah, both of these teams offensively have been in spots able to put stuff on the board, but have not been able to stop opponents consistently. Joe Blong trying to get to the outside, tries to turn the corner. Good defense by Bay City Central's Marcus Zavala to not give up, contain around the corner. And you've got to have good support from your corners to not give up the outside, because Joe Blong is a kid that can tear big chunks of real estate out.
That's true, and Central learned that the hard way last year. Joe Blong can hurt you in the air, and he can hurt you on the ground. If you can stop those things, you might be all right.
And the third part of the trifecta is he's just a great kid, too, a very humble kid, and that's a great testament to great parents when you've got kids that are great like that. So third down now and about 14 yards to go. Joe Blong looking over the Central defense, at least showing that they could be coming with an outside linebacker blitz, and they're coming with 5. That ball is picked up as trying to get the first down. Going to be very close to the first down. Looked like a pretty good spot. They're going to put this ball down. I believe from the spot they've got that it's going to be 4th down and about 2 lengths of the football.
Wow. Sidak on the initial hit, Houston on the cleanup there. And we might have a measurement. It looks like we are going to have a measurement. I think you're right, Jeff. It looks like about a couple of chain links short of the first down marker.
Yep, I think you're going to be somewhere around a ball and a half to 2 balls short.
Now the question is, does John Glenn, do they roll the dice this early? I wouldn't be surprised if they do, actually.
They're going to stretch that out, and it's a little different than I looked at it. It was right at the nose of the football and enough to move the sticks. Look down to our right here on the field, too. Mike, what do you see in the red and white?
Wow, is that the Handy Wildcats?
That is the Bangor Wildcats.
The Bangor Wildcats. Yes. There you go. The Saturday morning Bay FL guys, 1-0 right now.
Something that both you and I are familiar with. I officiate it. You announce it, so it's lots of fun. As they come to Wolfscheid on the outside, he picks up a little bit of yardage, got a little laundry going out there as the tacklers for Bay City Central were led by Cameron Monville. Usually when you see the line judge or the head linesman out here in space, you've got a block in the back or you've got a hold, and that is almost at the line of scrimmage. That, if accepted, probably will be a 10-yard penalty and 1st and 20 for John Glenn.
Called another holding penalty.
Now,
John Glenn, an interesting start. They got about 30 yards of offense right now and about 15 yards in penalties.
One of the things that I as a spectator and I as a coach right now will see is the officials are calling this game very tight early on. You as a player have got to adapt and adjust to that.
That's a good point. Absolutely.
We'll find out how these teams do, but you know, so much of this first possession offensively for both teams is what I call an adrenaline possession.
That's right.
Trying to get things calmed down and get into your full game package.
Setting the tone early.
Central with a 4-man defensive line. Trips to that wide side of the field for the John Glenn Bobcats. One offset back next to Joe Blong. Central looks like they're coming with some pressure again, trying to set up a little screen pass. Defensively, Monville was able to get back quick enough to sniff that ball out and prevent a potential big gain, as it will be 2nd down after a modest gain and about 18 yards to go for the first down.
That's right. Tom Zach also in on that last stop.
So we're just under the 9.5-minute mark of our first quarter. Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. Jared and Natalie Doan upstairs doing the camera work, and Nick Page producing and directing our show. 2nd down in a bunch. As Joe Blong back, he's got some time to throw the football. Has a beautiful pass complete in the middle to number 26, Friedenberg. As
leveled by number 3, Unique Houston.
Unique did a nice job of closing on that. But Joe Blong chose the short controlled pass, which is probably your best bet here in the wind, because the wind is going cross field from the John Glenn side to the Central side. So it won't be in anybody's face, but it definitely will alter more than a short pass.
Yes, and Long has actually surprised me. I thought that wind would be difficult for a passing game tonight, but Long is making it look fairly easy right now.
Here comes Central with another show of blitz. Joe Blong with plenty of time to throw the football down the field. It's picked off on the play by Central's number 24 as Zavala gets back near midfield, and we have got yellow hankies on the field at the end of the play. But they're post-possession penalties that are on the field as Joe Blong coming into this ball game had a pretty good year, 50 of 88 for 448 yards and 4 TDs. So it had been a good start to the year, but just under through. Penalty against Bay City Central. Again, it's a post-possession foul, and that will move Central back 15 yards.
A lot of laundry on the field this early.
And again, as we talked earlier, Mike, you've got to adapt as players and stuff that you might think you can get away with. Tonight's not going to be a night to try and hold that jersey for that extra split second. You better get a good grab and let go and push back because they're not going to be out here. And I think the fact that it's a rivalry game, they will call it tight early on just to keep these kids from getting out of control.
Yes, I know a couple of these referees, very experienced referees, and they know how to take control of a game early and make sure things don't get out of hand.
Central with the trip look to this side. Unique Houston, the handoff on the play, and he picks up about 3 out to the 43-yard line. The Bobcat defense all over that, led by number 46 on the play, and that's Nathan Jacobs. So Unique is one of those players for Bay City Central. Most people think DeVell Washington is the fastest player on the field. Unique is faster even than DeVell, so if you miss a tackle with him, he's one of those people that can go coast to coast.
And both guys are about as fast as it gets in high school. The last numbers I heard were 4.40s, both of them.
Which is, if they're legit, those are off the charts. Those are definitely D1 numbers. As Unique coming to the near side of the field, and there's going to be a holding penalty on Bay City Central.
Oh.
Again, when that jersey stretches out, that is something that is going to be, has been called early and will be called until they clean it up.
Yep.
So back at the point of attack, that with penalty will be back around the 42-yard line. They'll move that ball back somewhere in the neighborhood of the 32-yard line. And that's going to make it a second down and about 18 yards to go for Bay City Central. So penalty bug biting both teams early on.
Both offensive teams. Hard for either one to get things going. Got a shout out to number 46, Nathan Jacobs so far. He looks like he's going to be a presence on defense for John Glenn. Doing a nice job on contain at linebacker there.
He's one of those guys that just has a sniffer for the football. And you love kids like that just find a way to make plays.
That's right.
Second down, 18 yards to go for Central, and a free 5 going back for Bay City Central with a slight adjustment of the snap count. Now when you got both your line judge and your head linesman coming in along with the umpire, there's a little discussion going on. Did Central draw him off, or did John Glenn just try and jump the snap count? And they're going to guesstimate that the nose tackle, which should be the last guy on the field to jump the snap count when he's standing in the three-point over the ball. Just watch the ball and move at the ball. Tune everything out. No noise, no cadence.
I think both teams have players with nerves popping out of their skins right now. Last year's game was epic, and these guys are ready to get at it, and maybe a little too ready right now.
With trips, Elder going up the middle, and he picks up about 4 yards on the play out. Almost, they'll give him to the 42-yard line. You know, when you've got that big 6'5" frame, normally when you get hit, you have an opportunity to fall forward for an extra couple of yards.
That's true. Fights his way back to the original line of scrimmage. That is something Elder has added to his game this year. Wasn't much of a scrambler last year, but has done so more this year.
You know, and from Bay City Central, they got a new head coach this year. I am elated for the long term what this gentleman will be able to do for Bay City Central. But, you know, you've got kids that have, especially your seniors, have learned the system for 3 years and then have to learn new terminology and new system. It takes a few games. Now game 5, you should start seeing results from that changeover. Elder back to pass. He's throwing that ball downfield just over the outstretched hands of Jacob Morse. That's a tough pass for a quarterback going to that wide side of the field trying to throw cross-body.
Pretty well covered by the secondary. Elder threw it in the only place he could. It would have been a very tough catch by Morse, but in a game like this, boy, we need some catches like that. Again, nice job with the John Glenn defensive secondary. forces Central into fourth down.
You're looking at a punter for Bay City Central that's also your backup quarterback, so that gives the defense a little something extra to have to think about. Probably not this possession, but at some point during the game, as Hayden Jacek with a low line drive kick, and that thing rolls away from the return and will go out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. So that is a 45-yard kick with no return. You'll take that all day long at any level of football.
I was just about to mention Jacek, the punter, has really been a standout this year. He was hitting 45 and 47-yarders last week, so you're going to see a lot of that this year.
And he knew how to kick a line drive so that it wasn't directly affected by the wind, and that thing floated to the wide side of the field away from the return. So for the second possession in this game, the John Glenn Bobcats start deep in their own end.
Central winning the battle of field possession right now, or the position on the field right now.
As they run quads to the near side of the field, and they're going to run Wolfscheid wide open as he's got the ball over the first down marker up over the 30, and he is soundly hit by the Bay City Central Wolves number 27, Trey Trevino. But I'll tell you what, an extremely well-executed play. They flooded the zone to this side with 4 receivers. Central only had 3 defenders, couldn't get their 4th defender out. And a perfect throw from Joe Blong.
Great play calling by John Glenn, and yes, Long has got it going on tonight.
I don't think there's a time where Joe Blong doesn't have it going on. I just think he's a special talent.
As do I.
And you look back 2 years ago when he was a freshman, and the confidence that Jeremy Warner put in him to start at quarterback says volumes about what he saw in this young athlete.
I think coaches, good coaches, have an eye for that. They recognize kids that are going to go for it, going to go after it, and they're going to try to grit out every single play, and Joe Blong is clearly a player that does that.
Pass was intended for Austin McKenzie. Again, a situation where I think Joe Blong really didn't see a lot there. He was rolling to the wide side of the field and went, let's live for another down and not try and force the ball.
That's true. I want to say this in the most friendly way possible. I think there are fans at Bay City Central who are ready for that guy to graduate and move on.
And he's still got another year yet, too. So, and this John Glenn team is a very young team, so with him at the helm next year, they should be a lot of fun to watch. Joe Blong with a quick pass on the outside, and a missed tackle by Bay City Central's Jacob Morse, but plenty of help on the way. There's a gain on the play of about 4 yards out to the 40. It's going to be third down now and about 6 yards to go with 5:10 and counting left in this first quarter. Seems like the first quarter's taken quite a while to get through, Mike.
Yes, it does. And I'm thinking back to our pregame, and you called it so far. This is going to be a defensive struggle, or it is so far. We'll see what happens.
I think just because of the woes that they've had in the scoring realm for both teams, I think the defense in this game will be a little bit ahead of the offense, but we've still got a whole lot of football. We got 3.5 quarters to go. So right. Joe Blong now with a 3rd and 6, single offset back. Quick pass is complete on the play to number 26 as Fredenberg.
Sidak makes the tackle at midfield. Another first down for John Glenn.
As that is just a big play. As we get a chance to see the cheer team for the John Glenn Bobcats.
Ball spotted just inside Wolves territory.
So they're shooting some T-shirts up here. Mike, do you think they can get one up high enough for us? Yeah, that one went up high enough.
All right,
in the window here. We'll take one. My luck, it'd be a medium, and I wouldn't be able to get the left arm in it.
I'm not sure I can make a medium work either, Jeff.
1st and 10 for the John Glenn Bobcats at the central side of the 50. Trying to go with a little backside screen. As they get downfield, the reception by number 11, Austin McKenzie, who seems to be a favored target early on, along with Wolfscheid. Able to make positive yards, getting about 3 yards. Like the misdirection that they faked this way, and then they go back with a little screen on the backside. Modest gain of 3 on the play, 2nd down and 7 for Joe Blong. They've really shown a lot of their playbook on these first 2 drives.
Boy, nickel and dime them, terrific play calling so far. Very methodical, very disciplined, and it's working.
Joe Blong gets the word from the sideline. Single offset back to the near side. Central looks like they're coming with pressure. Joe Blong coming to the outside. Monville trying to cart him down.
Oh!
Joe Blong has his arm hit as that ball goes out of bounds, and Monville able to close in a hurry for Bay City Central and really force Joe Blong's hand.
And for Central, number 81, Cameron Monville, looks like he is ready to go. 2 tackles already and on pursuit several times. He got a piece of Long's arm, as you mentioned. Brings up 3rd and 7 for John Glenn.
And when you see your quarterback's arm get hit in motion, that's always a scary thing because you're always dealing with the inertia of that arm going forward, and then it gets rocked back by the arm. I'm glad to see that everything looks well, but always something that you got to keep your eye on as they've got a bunch formation this time, which we haven't seen. See if they run the jailbreak screen as they come on the inside. Another great pass and a great catch by Wollaston. As Wollaston just got into an area, and Joe Blong has been very accurate with his passes so far in the first.
On the dough, I don't have the statistics handy, but I got to believe he's about 6 for 8 right now. Just picking the secondary apart, and Central's defensive scheme, I should say, is somewhat effective, but Long is just a little bit too much right now for him.
And he knows with the wind looks like it's died down a little bit, but he's throwing the short, controlled passes. One of the few runs that we've seen in this game. And look at Bay City Central coming up defensively. Trey Trevino just slammed the door.
5'8", 160. Plays like he's about 6'2", 230.
Another kid that got a lot of playing time last year with a solid group in the defense for Bay City Central and brings that leadership back to the secondary with a knockdown hit.
I remember him coming up from the Bay FL since he was 10 years old. Always not anywhere near the biggest guy in the field, but a real grinder.
Well, he's one of those kids with a big heart indeed. He plays bigger than he is. 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Joe Blong again gets the sideline look. Single offset back, twins to the front and twins to the back. Joe Blong has that ball picked off as there was a little miscommunication from the wide receiver, Wolscheid.
Number 20, Nick Birdsall jumped the route for the Wolves.
And Job wants that one back, but he's going to have to go over and talk to Wolscheid and go, boy, you know, I threw that ball as if you were going to do just a little quick stop and a 1 step out, and that ball was already in motion. So Central with the benefit of 2 turnovers thus far in the game. And while we got a minute, we wanted to let the folks know the John Glenn Boosters Detroit Lion bus trip Sunday, October 28th at 1 p.m. against the Seahawks. It includes bus ride, ticket to the game, food, beverage, giveaways, 50-50. It's $135 a person. 989-225-2595 for more information. Bay City Central with a first down. Unique Houston with a hole. He picks up 10 or 11 yards and he lets go of the ball.
Loose ball
and
on
it
the
looks
field.
like the Bobcats may have it.
My goodness, John Glenn took it right back. John Glenn going to start at the Wolves' 40-yard line.
When you look at that play, Unique was trying to spin to daylight. He did not protect the mail.
That's right.
As the loaf of bread was just sticking out just a little bit too far, and a well-timed swat from the Bobcat defense. And 3 turnovers combined by these 2 teams in the first 9.5 minutes of game time.
A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers so far.
Boy, so Joe Blong's got to be elated after 2 turnovers not to be down in this first quarter. Let's see what he can do to make this Bobcat offense hit pay dirt. Trips again, kind of in a bunched formation to the wide side of the field. Joe Blong out of the shotgun gets a perfect snap. He's got time to throw the football downfield just over the outstretched hands of the intended receiver, number 13, Trevor Wallison.
Long, well protected by his line there. Central might have got away with one there. Nick Birdsall made a nice play, a defensive secondary, broke up that pass.
Normally when Joe Blong has that much time to make something happen, he's going to hurt you.
That's right. That's right.
So one of the few times that the offensive line has given him all the time he's needed to make things happen. It'll be 2nd down and 10 yards to go from the 40-yard line. Again, single back to the near side of the field. That bunch formation to the wide side. Little bubble screen to the outside. Wolfside just in and out of his hands. And look at the closing speed of Unique Houston.
Yeah. He closed that down early. Central got away with one. Long sailed it a little bit. Receiver made a terrific effort. Almost came up with that one.
Looks like we got a player down on the field for John Glenn. We'll take a quick break and be back in just a moment on Bay County TV.
AAA Transport and Limousine is the Great Lakes Bay region's most reliable and requested transportation service. For over a decade, we have been helping our clients to get to their destination on time, in style, and comfort. AAA's services include non-emergency medical transport, wheelchair accessible, school transportation, and shuttle services. We strive to provide exceptional customer service and tailor our fleet to meet your individual needs. Rest assured that you are in safe hands when you ride with AAA Transport and Limousine. To set up your next appointment, give us a call at 989-893-8294.
As we move back here, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. We're looking at the red and white down there, the Bangor Wildcats of the Bay Area Youth Football League, and they'll be in action this Saturday. Great fill for the feeling of those youngsters being down there on the sidelines.
I tell you, that BFL, as you know, Jeff, that is a real special thing they have over at All Saints Field every Saturday. They put on a great show, and the kids absolutely love playing there.
It is a great facility. It's very well attended. It's very positive for those young people. A great teaching environment. As they've got trips to the wide side of the field again, Joe Blong with a single back. Central shows coming with 4. Joe Blong going to try and turn the corner. And Bay City Central all over that play, not allowing Joe Blong an opportunity to turn the corner. As Holt with a nice job defensively, not giving up contain.
Xavier Hoyt, tough kid also. And I tell you, I got to believe that the Central coaches took a look at this film from last year, particularly at Joe Blong and how they're going to stop the run. He can hurt you as well. He can hurt you on the ground. He can hurt you in the air, as we mentioned earlier. So looks like they're ready to defend the scramble anyway.
Looks like they're going to attempt on 4th down and 10. I think they're going to try and draw Central off, and if not, punt. But you know how long ago I stopped trying to outthink head coaches?
That's true.
As they're going to switch the formation. As Joe Blong is going to call for the ball. As he gets rid of that ball, it's complete. Short of the first down marker. Central doing a great job after a 5-yard gain of swarming to the football. Defenders led by number 21, Jacob Morse.
Boy, nice job, Morse. Central's going to take possession at the 35, and again, I'm thinking back to your prognosticating in our pregame, the defensive struggle. I really didn't think so. I thought both offenses might unleash the beast tonight, but so far it's a defensive dogfight here.
Well, and I think right now coming back in, Coach Frederick will go up to Unique Houston and go, young man, you didn't put the mail away. Let's go back there and make it happen. Forget that happened and go, because the last thing you want to do as a running back is think about the last play unless it was about an 80-yard run for a touchdown. If it's a turnover, you got to block it out and go, but you credit great defense for being able to swipe that ball.
Short memory, that's the key.
Unique Houston with a 5-yard gain up the middle.
Houston up the gut, 5. Mentioned earlier, Unique had a good game last week. The score didn't show this, but Unique had about 135 yards on the ground. He was hitting the hole. First time this year.
Fredenberg led the tacklers for the Bobcats. And, you know, when a kid gets over 100 yards, you know he's starting to get into a rhythm. He's starting to read his blocks and cuts, and so we'll see how that goes. Have not attempted to get the ball in DeVell Washington's hands yet. We'll find out. As they've got twins now, just as I say that, DeVell gets his hands on the ball, picks up the first down, and more as he gets out to the 46-yard line. Again, both these teams might go into the very short control pass where the wind does not have a lot of effect on a tight spiral that's only going 10, 15 yards.
That's a good point. Good play call by the offensive coordinator for Bay City Central High School. And a nice confidence builder pass for Elder. Put that one on the dough for Washington.
And that's really something that we've seen out of the Bobcat playbook from early in the game. So Central's trying a little turnabout as fair play as they've got twins to the wide side of the field. Now DeVell in motion to the near side of the field, which will bring them into trips. As Unique Houston with his hands on the ball. Unique breaks another tackle or two. Has a gain of about 13 yards down to the 39-yard line. Boy, when they run DeVell in motion, how alert is the defense to where he is on the field.
That's right. That's a lot of guys to cover. Those guys are going to get their yards, and that was about 12 for Houston. Central now down inside the 40-yard line, 1st and 10.
The John Glenn Booster Club's Progressive Raffle happens every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. at the Tap Alley inside Bay Lanes. Tickets are only $1 a piece. If you need a ticket for each week's drawing, you can get them at any John Glenn High School concession stand or Booster Club member, as they do that draw weekly, which is great monies that the Booster Club really puts right back into all the programs, not just sports, for the schools. As Unique Houston pulls forward for a gain on the play of about 3 yards. Good defense. Slammed the door on that. Defenders led by, amongst others, Woolison.
Got number 53, Cody Higgins, in on that tackle also.
At the end of our first quarter of play, we've got no score between Central and John Glenn. Back in a moment for the second quarter right here on Bay County TV.
It's another fall Friday night, and your kids should be
playing high school football.
It's a fun game, and it's safer than ever.
It's safe because the rules, the coaching, and the equipment are better than ever before.
As a result, serious injuries are at an all-time low. Seriously.
And builds
strong schools, lifetime memories, and tomorrow's community leaders.
And it's mother approved.
It's a great game, and we want to teach it to your kids.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent, along with you, Jared and Natalie Doan upstairs, Nick Page producing and directing our show. Great to have you along on this crosstown rivalry. Bay City Central with a 2nd down and 7 yards to go. As DeVell in motion to the wide side of the field, he sets down. Now he's going to run a little down route, and he's wide open. As the defense rolls in, DeVell does a nice job of going down around his ankles for that ball. Brian Elder knew exactly where he had to throw that ball so that it could only be caught and not intercepted. DeVell went down, got his hands under it, and made a nice catch.
16-yard strike for Elder. Central now at the Bobcat 22-yard line.
With the 1st and 10, Bay City Central. So really the first serious scoring threat for either team in this ball game, as the John Glenn Bobcats, up until about the 35-yard line on the other side, have been able to do very good.
About 90% of this game has been played between the 40s up until now. This is first time just about inside the red zone. We'll see if we can Central can capitalize here.
Elder stood up with a great defense, as leading that defense was number 15, Christie, along with Wollison, not allowing much to happen. Also in on that hit, number 54, and that's McLean.
I think forward progress gives Elder a 2-yard gain. 2nd and 8 for the Wolves. Ball just inside the 20-yard line.
And people will say, man, you run that play for 2 yards, you're just trying to keep the defense honest so they can't just key on Unique. There's a real method to what they're trying to do.
And the tone of this game starting to look like the 2 and 3 yard cloud of dust plays might be the difference here tonight.
Well, both teams have settled in and not really gotten a lot of penalties. Houston trying to come around the corner. He's got the speed, breaks the first tackle. He's going to step out of bounds at the 16-yard line. So there'll be a gain on the play of almost 5 yards on the play, bringing up a 3rd down and 4 yard to go situation.
Number 53, Cody Higgins, in on another stop for the Bobcats.
You know, Unique just took the little bob to get out of bounds. You know, you might see him on a different situation, want to drop that shoulder and see if he could pick up and finish with an extra couple.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing that real soon. He's breaking some tackles tonight also, so it looks like Houston's ready to get physical.
3rd down and a long 4. Obviously what many would consider to be 4-down territory.
Yeah. Landon Richard, the kicker, does have a leg, though. Field goal is possible here, but I think you're right. We got 4-down territory. We'll see, though.
As
Houston on the off tackle.
Yep, he gets about half of what he needs. So now it's decision time for the first time. It's 4th and 2. You saw John Glenn roll the dice on 4th and 10.
That's right.
Now what will Bay City Central encounter here on 4th and 2? I don't see the field goal kicking game with the intense wind being as big a factor tonight as it would be in a normal game. But, again, I don't like to outguess coaches.
That's true. You have to say that with Elder at quarterback and Houston in the backfield, and Washington split out wide. It's hard to go with your field goal kicker. You got to go with your guns, I think.
Central's going to take a timeout there first of the half. We'll take a break and be back in just a minute here on Bay County TV.
You treat your family with extraordinary care every day, which is why when it comes to their health, more of you choose Covenant Healthcare. We specialize in extraordinary care, from diagnosis to recovery, from babies to grandparents. Learn more about our extraordinary bariatrics program. Sign up for our free seminar.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Todt and Mike Vincent along with you. Bay City's finest out here, hoping they don't have too much to do tonight. Bay City Central on a 4th and 2 as they've got motion to the wide side. Elder with the carry. Looks like he's going to be very close to that first down marker. I think he got it down to the 11-yard line. Needed to get to the 12. Again, they used Unique Houston as a decoy and a lead block, and he had a kick-out block that Elder was able to get back inside of and move the sticks.
Interesting choice to have Elder turn it upfield, and it looks like he got it done to me also, but we'll see. We were wrong on one mark before. Looks like we're going to have another measurement here.
Well, and, where the ball was at, where the ball just got moved to, got moved back about a foot. Now, this is going to be a very, very close mark. I got to believe he still got it.
Central 0 for 1 with spots tonight.
By the length of a football, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Bay City Central Wolves.
Central keeps a pretty impressive drive going here. I believe they started at their own 30-yard line, I believe.
So a nice controlled drive. Brian Elder comes back from the sideline with the play from Coach Frederick. And it'll be 1st and 10 Bay City Central. Very stingy has been the John Glenn Bobcat defense on this drive as well, making Central have to work for every inch that they've been able to pick up. DeVell Washington to the outside. He has got a little hole. He cuts up inside and picks up a solid 6 yards down to the 6-yard line. And I'll tell you what, you see a big 6'4", 220-pound kid that can run 4.4. He can run over you or go around you. And he picked up about 5 yards of real estate, making it 2nd and 5.
That is a hard guy to stay in front of, and guess who did it? That's number 3, Job Long, also playing defense. What kind of shape is that guy in? Job
is one of those kids that I think has a great chance to play at the next level, but I think it'll be defensively. I don't think it'll be at quarterback.
Really?
If he does go quarterback, maybe D3 or something, but I think he's got D2 or above as a defensive player, maybe an outside linebacker if he puts a little bit of meat on. 2nd down, Houston inside the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He's into the end zone. It's a Bay City Central Wolf touchdown.
How about that? Houston with about 40 yards now today, and his first touchdown.
He does a very nice job. A kick-out block by the right guard gave him a hole that he didn't expect big enough to get through, going untouched into the end zone.
Central's Big Ugly is getting it done up front. Wanted to mention that was Dan Elder at center, too, that helped blow open that hole. That's the brother of quarterback Brian Elder.
So it's the Elder connection. As the attempt for an extra point is up. It is plenty long, and it's good. Time out of the field with 8 minutes and 48 seconds left in our first half of play. Bay City Central 7, John Glenn nothing. Back in a moment on Bay County TV.
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted, just whistle.
Back here on BCTV, Jeff Todt and Mike Vincent along with you. Central draws first blood, and they are up 7-0, and they will kick. It looks like number 6, Wolfscheid, is one of the deep backs.
along with number 11, Austin McKenzie.
Boy, Woolside gets the ball at the 15. He's up over the 25. Will be just shy of that 30-yard line. We're a whole bunch of Bay City Central Wolves in on that tackle. So fair starting position for the John Glenn Bobcats, as now they're going to be having to toss the ball sideways the other way with the wind. But Joe Blong has been very impressive in this game considering the wind and not making any mistakes and throwing a very tight spiral and an accurate football.
That's right. He's going to be the guy to stop along with Woolside tonight.
Well, and Rory O'Hare, too, the fact that they don't have him, he would have been a major contributor offensively for this club. He's just got glue for hands. Another one of those players that Jeff Hart loves in the spring. As it'll be 1st and 10. Here comes Central on a blitz. Joe Blong able to beat that, trying to get around Monville. Just a great job of scout defense by Monville, and he would not allow Joe Blong to get by him. But boy, what a sidestep to get away from the blitz.
It sure was. Long did everything he could do to get back to the line of scrimmage there. About 2nd and 10. Monville now with 3 tackles in this first half.
2nd down, basically right back to the line of scrimmage, as Mike just said. Trips here to the near side of the field, single to the wide side with a single back. So Bay City Central in their standard 4-3-4 look defensively. Looks like they're inching up and could be coming with some pressure. And we are going to have movement on the offense. Normally when you see the white hat toss something, you've either got the offset running back or the quarterback making something happen. You know, your umpire's looking at the center and 2 guards, and you've got guard tackle on both sides that are, and wide receivers are by your head linesman and line judge. So
not going to get away with much.
No. And how have the kids reacted to all those early penalties? They've cleaned things up, and now the officials are just letting them play football.
I was just going to mention that.
Great minds think alike. 2nd down and 15 yards to go. Joe Blong with a little bubble screen out to Woolside. He makes the first man miss. He tries to cut back across the grain, makes the second man miss, trying to cut upfield. Pickup of about 5 yards on the play to get back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10. But I'll tell you what, give Woolside a whole lot of credit for making a couple of Central defenders miss.
Sure did. He ran about 30 yards to gain 5 there.
Reception complete to number 6, Daniel Woolside, brought down by number 67, Brett Byer.
As Smith comes out of the game, number 87 for John Glenn. Another 3rd and long as Joe Blong looks to the sidelines. And it's become very fashionable to have those little wrist plays so that you can just look down, spot a number, a letter, whatever you've got on there, and you know what the play is without having to huddle.
That's right. Hurry up offense, catch the defense off guard.
Central comes up the middle with pressure. A nice thrown ball, just a touch behind and unable to reel that ball in. That was intended for number 26, Fredenberg.
John Glenn had the right play call there. That looks like it was open just a little bit behind Fredenberg. 4th down, nice defensive stand by the Wolves.
That was another play, though, that even if he's able to catch that, he's still short of the first down mark.
Right.
He had to go down for that ball, so Central has an opportunity to get pretty good field position here again.
His defense playing the bend but not break, it looks like. We're giving up 3, 5, 7, but not the big play. And the big play has been hurting Central all year.
Joe Blong, another proficient punter, as he tries a little Australian type slide to the side. And Houston is going to have to let that go. He let some go last week for around 50 yards as well. So you're going to do the simple math here, and you're going to find this being another 50-yard kick. So very, very nicely done, but nearly blocked by Bay City Central. He waited till the last second and let that kick go and just got it over the outstretched arms of a Central defender.
And fired off a 54-yard punt I got. Late flag in the field.
What do we got for the hanky? Boy, and on a play like that where the ball is just rolling around, Central's going to get called for holding and back them up. That's going to put them back around the 10-yard line, depending on where that flag went down.
Field position, I believe, going to be a big factor in this game. And Although Central is winning 7-0, that's going to hurt. John Glenn, if John Glenn can hold them 3 and out here, they're going to get the ball back at, probably Central's 40-yard line.
We'll find out now as the referee goes back. He says, wait for me, fellas. Now I'll give you the ready for play so you can run your offense. Standard defense. And that ball down on the ground. Look what's going up the middle. Brian Elder up over the 20 to the 25-yard line. Mike turns a broken play into a plus 15.
How about that? Elder is having his game of the year so far.
Joe Blong and number 69, Gina, were the two that were in on that tackle. Big play for Bay City Central. Gets them out of the backdrop of their own end zone.
It sure does.
And with 6:55 and counting left in the first half, Bay City Central on top 7-0. DeVell Washington to the near side of the field with trips to the wide side. Safety help over the top. As Unique Houston turns the corner with a nice spin move, gets away from one. Gain on the play of about 6 yards as he gets up to almost the 32-yard line. So he's doing a nice job. That time when he spun, Mike, you saw that ball tight up against the body, and that was the difference between the fumble and that last play.
Absolutely. He learned from that mistake earlier.
John Glenn Bobcat did close down on that. That spin move allows him to get past that first defender, but the Bobcats closed in a hurry. It'll be 2nd down and 4 yards to go. As a single back with trips here to the near side of the field. As that ball over the outstretched hands of number 24, Marcus Zavala. And I'll tell you what, that had a little mustard on it.
It did. That would have been a tough one to catch. It was high. Zavala got his fingertips on it, but I'll tell you what, as a receiver, I used to do this way back when, and I still remember going down the middle and trying to make a catch with outstretched arms takes an awful lot of effort.
I had a neighbor growing up that used to have to catch a Bay City handy grad back in the 70s named Mark Elzinga that had an absolute cannon, and he told me daily, he goes, Jeff, I would come home and my hands just hurt. Trying to catch that hard ball. There wasn't a lot of finesse on it. He threw everything with a purpose. And
if you do that with outstretched arms, you are hearing footsteps and thinking about a truck hitting you right in the ribs. Boy, Elzinga, I remember that Bay City name. He was a backup for Dennis Franklin for the University of Michigan in the early 70s.
That is very proficient. That you can go back that far. I remember going back down there in the 70s when he was there as a player, and when he got on the field, our marching band from the stands played the Handy Fight song as he hit the field. So band day, they used to have a ton of people. Jacek gets rid of a ball after a high kick, and that is going to take a roll and be down at the 50. Jacek did a good job to even get that thing off.
That's about the best 25-yard punt you're going to see.
Look at the defense, though. 15-yard gain for Elder, but other than that, the John Glenn defense with a great job of shutting Central offense down. They put themselves in great position here at midfield midway through the second quarter.
Absolutely. And as the Wolves learned last year, there is no such thing as a big enough lead against the John Glenn Bobcats. They keep coming at you all 4 quarters, all 60 minutes.
As the Bobcats now with 50 yards from pay dirt, just over 5 minutes left in our first half. Well, Scheid in motion. Joe Blong up the middle, tries to get to the outside, makes a couple of people miss. And Bay City Central down low. Looks like number 24, Zavala defensively.
Zavala also having his breakthrough game tonight. 2 tackles and an interception so far. Number 53, Max Tomzak, in on tackle number 3. I'm going to finish my story about Elzinga and his Michigan connection. I was actually from Jackson Parkside, so some of my earliest memories were of my dad taking me to see Tony Dungy lighting up for Jackson Parkside.
Oh, my.
He ended up playing quarterback for Minnesota.
Yep. I remember him well. He was a very dual threat quarterback. Here comes Monville on Joe Blong. Joe Blong trying to get rid of that ball at the last second as he tried to get that thing to Woolside, but Monville closing on that did not give Joe Blong time to set his feet at all. And he threw that to Woolside in the only spot that Woolside had a chance to get it that the defense didn't.
That's true. Ben Prevost back in action, defended on that play.
It'll be a big third down situation now, and about 8 yards to go for the Bobcats from the 48-yard line of the Bay City Central Wolves. Joe Blong, after a red-hot start, has missed on those last few passes. See if he can come up with a big play here on third down with trips to the wide side of the field. One offset back once again. And
flag coming from the sideline. Looks like offsides against Central.
Left defensive end for Bay City Central in that neutral zone. And boy, that's one that'll pull your hair out in a hurry, because as a defensive player, all you got to do is look at the ball and line up before the pre-snap. There should be no excuse for lining up in that neutral zone.
That's right. And in a game like this, you got to think a little thing like that is gonna cost you down the road. These little things, little mistakes here and there can make all of the difference in a big crosstown rivalry like this.
Now a much more manageable third down and long 3-yard to go situation. Job now with split backs in the backfield. Job's going to keep it himself, has a little seam to the outside, a little dipsy-do, picks up the first down and more with deceptive speed. And we're going to have another penalty late. Has a late hit out of bounds, as he was at least a full step out of bounds before Bay City Central with a little extra push.
No doubt about that one. 15 yards going to be tacked on to the end of that run. And you got to believe that's a little bit of frustration on the part of the Central defense. This Joe Blong is so hard to stop.
Boy, I'll tell you, he had two peekaboo moves where he dipped from the inside to the outside, then looked like he was going back in. They're going to move this thing down inside the 15. I think they're going to end up down around the 13-yard line.
Huge play for John Glenn. Beautiful run by Long.
It'll be just inside the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 for the John Glenn Bobcats, and that's where he can hurt you with his arm and with his feet.
Ball spotted just inside the 15. Just over 4 minutes to go in this first half. Very quick first half also.
As Joe Blong senses pressure from Central, Woolside has the Central defender, number 53, Tom Zach, all over him. After a modest gain on the play, they may give him 2 down to the about the 13-yard line. It's going to be officially a 1-yard gain, 2nd down and 9 yards to go, as 4 minutes is an eternity at that spot on the field for your offense.
Absolutely. No rush on the part of John Glenn.
Of course, they run no huddle, but they don't necessarily run rush offense. It's there's a misconception. They think just because they go no huddle that they're going to run speed. But they don't always do that. They get up, they have time to look over the defense and make the adjustment. As they try and come back on a little bubble screen. Woolside's got it. He's inside the 10. Right. Tackled by Bay City Central's number 40, Jones.
Beautiful call on the part of the John Glenn offensive coordinator. Well executed by Long and Woolside. That was Woolside, the receiver? Yeah.
And it is going to be 3rd down and a short yard to go. And that's the second time where they faked screen one way and gone back against it. And Woolside definitely found a seam and cut it up. Joe Blong now probably in a situation where a run could be in order. He's down inside the 2 to the 1-yard line. He's got the 1st and goal from the 1.
Boy,
the
terrific.
Bobcats.
Terrific drive by John Glenn. And you got to go back to that 3rd and 8. And we just line up off sides and make it 3rd and 3. Turns out to be huge for John Glenn.
They converted, and they have converted with 2 more first downs. Now 1st and goal. Job, look at this. 2 tight ends and a balanced line. As we have got the full house backfield. Trying to sniff the goal line. Looks like he might be just shy of the goal line, was the right half. I'll have to wait for that young man to get up. Nathan Jacobs.
Yep. 2nd and goal for John Glenn. Inches to go.
Because that thing is inside the 1-yard line. I'm going to say 7 3/4 inches away from that goal line. Again, they're just going with the big bulk up. It's mano-mano. And Central with defensive pursuit. Look at Monville at the bottom of that stack. And there's a loss on the play back to the 1-yard line. And the Central defense showing a little bit of stinginess down here, sniffing the goal line.
Terrific stand so far. Cameron Monville is one of those guys I got to believe has had this game in his mind for about 364 days, ever since that epic showdown last year at Engel Stadium.
I think Bay City Central is going to take a timeout right now, and we'll take a break with $1:38 left in our first half. Bay City Central 7, John Glenn knocking on the door. Back in a moment on Bay County TV.
Sports give so many opportunities to kids. It gives them an opportunity to see where they fit within a team, persevere, understanding how to work with different personalities. Those are the lessons that will make you a successful adult. As a mom, you have to have an understanding of what concussions are.
Concussions are things that are treatable. If we take care of athletes, they will be able to develop and have a long, happy, healthy life.
Back here on the John Glenn side, 3rd down and goal from the 1. They're going to stay with this look, Mike, but I think that they're going to run a wrinkle out of this. I don't know that they're just going to stay smash mouth. As Joe Blanc comes, as he's going to try and get rid of the ball as he throws that thing away at the last second, and we have got Central players just flying to the football.
Wow.
Monville's a little bit slow to get up on the sidelines as Job was able to get away from the first Central defender who nearly had him back around the 18-yard line.
And that was one of those excellent incomplete passes there. He gave himself another chance inside the 1-yard line, 4th down. A lesser experienced quarterback or one with less composure could make a costly mistake there. Long made sure he didn't.
Quickly comes up to the line of scrimmage. Bay City Central crowding things. It's 4th and goal. And Joe Blanc backs out and loses control of the ball. The Bay City Central Wolves have held defensively with 4 stops at the 1-yard line. And that was a statement series for both teams here in this first half, Mike.
That was a terrific defensive stand and probably the series of the year so far for Bay City Central. Huge stop for the defense and a huge confidence builder for a defense that really needed one.
Boy, the Bobcats got the ball at midfield, and they were able to move that thing methodically down to the 1-yard line. Bay City Central's got no room for error, though, as they're going to be down deep in their own end. This is where you might just watch and see them try and go deep. As Brian Elder's just going to lean forward, and he gets up to about the 4-yard line, trying to give them a little bit of breathing room. And the Bobcats, will see if they're going to use any timeouts or not. With $1:15 and counting left in our first half, Bay City Central, I believe, are just going to be content at this point just to run that first half out. But, if the defense relaxes for a minute, when you've got speedsters that can get the ball deep, there's always that chance.
That would be an interesting idea. We'll see if they do it. Looks like Elder's lined up in the shotgun, so another flag on the field.
Going to have procedure penalty on the offense.
Looks like a false start on the Wolves.
Late flag on the field.
And another late flag, so the first penalty will move Central back to the 2, and then I believe we got somebody from Central that may have done a little post-conversation that will back them back to the 1-yard line.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what this one is.
You're going to have a penalty for procedure, which will take it from the 4 to the 2, and then we'll have to see what the dead ball foul was.
Central has one more timeout this half, and if they use it, I believe the C word, composure, is going to come out of a coach's mouth or two.
So there's a personal foul. Central, I believe, would not want to stop the clock anymore in this first half. I think they just want to run a quarterback sneak and maybe a second one. And then we'd see if John Glenn would be interested in calling one of their last timeouts.
Absolutely. If John Glenn can tie this game at halftime, that is a huge win for them.
But you've got one of those situations for Bay City Central. The ball already back at the 2, so really, the half full says it's only a 1-yard penalty. The half empty says that's a silly time to do anything that can hurt your team down that close to the end zone.
Absolutely. You sure don't want to give up a safety in a game like this.
Look at Elder coming forward out to almost the 10-yard line as he gets out to the 9, kept those wheels turning.
Yeah.
Now is Bay City Central going to utilize a timeout, or is that? Nope, it's the John Glenn Bobcats that take one. It's going to be 3rd down and a short 2 with 44.3 ticks left in the half. Back in a moment to see how the last moments of this first half in a crosstown rivalry will be right here on Bay County TV.
AAA Transport and Limousine is the Great Lakes Bay region's most reliable and requested transportation service. For over a decade, we have been helping our clients to get to their destination on time, in style, and comfort. AAA's services include non-emergency medical transport, wheelchair accessible, school transportation, and shuttle services. We strive to provide exceptional customer service and tailor our fleet to meet your individual needs. Rest assured that you are in safe hands when you ride with AAA Transport and Limousine. To set up your next appointment, give us a call at 989-893-8294.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you, the John Glenn Bobcat cheer team. The nice little pyramid as they salute the fans. It'll be 3rd down and a short 2-yard to go situation for Central. Elder back out of the shotgun. And they're going to give that ball to DeVell. And Washington gets up over the 14 to about the 15-yard line. Maybe they'll give him the 16 with 40.2 left. I'll tell you, somebody got him low, and if not, he might have still been running.
He hit the hole quickly. That was a huge first down for Central. And you're right, could have been a lot more.
Now Bay City Central with only one timeout remaining in the first half, down to 30 seconds and counting on our clock. Central with at least a little bit of room to move now, see what they try and do. As they're going to hand that ball to DeVell Washington again. DeVell might pick up 3 yards out to about the 19-yard line. And in all probability, that'll be the last play of our first half.
Really a competitive first half and everything you expected in a crosstown rivalry like this. Anybody's ball game still.
Very, very well played, very close to the cuff. Defense dominated. That's the end of our first half of play. And our score at the half, the Bay City Central Wolves 7 and the John Glenn Bobcats nothing. Oh, the halftime show now will be coming up with Jason Urich and Mom Beth, amongst others, from the John Glenn Bobcat Marching Band. They had the Christy McAuliffe group out there in the pregame. I don't believe they're going to be out there for the halftime show. Should be a lot of fun. The Palms, the cheer team, will do it all for you. And we'll be back to recap the first half, set the stage for the second half right after our halftime festivities on Bay County TV. the half on Bay County TV. Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. Special guest Matt Schmidt. And Matt, what a great first half, kind of in parlaying to what was a sensational first match in a long time last year at Central.
Oh yeah, last year was unbelievable. We came away from that game with a win, but just the environment. You know, we entered the Saginaw Valley League, and that's the environment we wanted our kids and our fans to be in every week, and that's carried over to this year. I mean, we have a lot of fans here from Central. It's great to see, and a great first half, 7-0.
Terrific first half and an epic showdown once again. This is something I caught on to. I'm not originally from around this area, and these crosstown rivalries are really something. I heard telltale of the Central Handy games and how epic they were in the past until Handy became a middle school. This seems to be a very worthy replacement.
Yeah, and honestly, it doesn't matter the records. I mean, you can throw the records out. One team could be undefeated, the other could be 0-5. And they're going to play each other because it's a rivalry. They're going to play each other, fight tooth and nail till the end. Absolutely love it. This is what it's about on Friday nights.
Well, and you love the fact that you get to play in front of a packed house. Both schools are very well represented. But, you know, you've got roots with Bangor that you're doing a tremendous job out here with, but you've also got some roots from Bay City prior. So I know your loyalties are of the Bobcats, but you were at Central for a while as a teacher.
Yeah, and you know what? Two quality programs, two quality communities, and I'm just thrilled to be here tonight. Bay City travels well, obviously. You look at the amount of fans, which is fantastic, and hope for a great second half.
What are some of the exciting things that are going on in the Bangor School District?
Well, student data is looking good, which is always a plus. At the high school next year, we'll be going 1-to-1. So every student will get a device, which is a huge piece for us. And just continuing now that we've entered the Saginaw Valley League to update and improve our facilities. So this year we put in another a JV softball field. We're completely redoing our varsity baseball field and actually just started breaking ground on a JV baseball field. So just improving our facilities as well. So
it's great to look out back and see that you've got room to expand.
Oh yeah, no, that's a huge piece because when you don't, you know, it's kind of over in terms of growth. But no, we have still a lot of property left. We're getting down to not having a lot, but it's exciting. Saginaw Valley League has really brought a lot of good pieces to our community and district.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations on all you've done for John Glenn, Matt. We miss you in Bay City. We appreciate the work, and we're proud of you. Great seeing you again.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, guys.
We'll be back to recap the first half, set the stage for the second half right here on Bay County TV.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education.
Back at the half, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. And Mike, this was a game going in that we weren't really certain what was going to happen. I suspected a defensive rivalry. You thought there'd be some points scored. I was right in the first half, but there's still a lot of football left.
I believe it. We didn't know what was going to happen, and I still don't know what's going to happen.
Bay City Central will get the opening kick in the second half with a 7-0 lead. That goal line stand late in the first half really was a statement hold.
It was a statement for tonight, and it was a statement, I believe, for this season for Bay City Central High School. The defense in particular needed a confidence builder, and that defensive stand was the series of the year so far.
John Glenn, very impressive defensively in that first half, as well as they really didn't allow Central a whole lot. And whenever you've got Joe Blong on the field, you know you've got your hands full for a Central defense in the second half.
Absolutely. Central learned the hard way last year that there is no stopping the John Glenn Bobcats. They are going to keep coming for 2 more quarters. Again, who knows what's going to happen, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
I know you and I are going to have a lot of fun in the second half to see how it all shakes. Back for the second half in just a moment on Bay County TV.
Over the years, he's put his heart into being your dad. He was always there to fix things. Now that he needs help, don't lose hope. Covenant Center for the Heart is leading the way in minimally invasive heart options for inoperable or high-risk patients, with the first and most comprehensive structural heart disease program in the Great Lakes Bay region. It's extraordinary heart care, close to home.
Back and ready to roll for the second half. John Glenn Bobcats will be kicking. As there's a short kick, and it'll be taken by Bay City Central's Hayden Yachuk. He gets up over the 40-yard line to about the 42-yard line. Looked like he was waiting for just a couple of seconds to see if he could pick up a block, but picked up about 8 on the return and put Central in very fashionable starting field position here to start the third quarter.
So Yachuk, tough South Ender. He decided to be his own blocker and fought his way out to the 43-yard line.
It'll be 1st and 10, Bay City Central. Always get excited about the first possessions by both teams in this second half to see what type of halftime adjustments that they made.
Absolutely. Setting the tone for a second half. This is just about a dead even dogfight right now, so whoever shows the other team who's boss might have the serious advantage the second half. Houston hits a big hole. He's got a lot of room. My goodness.
Boy, I'll tell you, a touchdown-saving tackle defensively by the Bobcats. One of the defensive backs got him around the ankles as he was running away from the rest of the defenders. Just a simple off left tackle, delayed handoff with, again, you've got that DeVell Washington motion, and the safeties are rotating, and the linebackers are familiar with where he's at, and Unique just put it in second gear.
I think the Central offensive coordinators, the offensive team, and the players discovered something this week. Had one of my students earlier in the day, Travis McLean, said they had their best week of practice of the year. Things seem to be clicking. And I think Travis knew exactly what he was talking about.
Unique with a modest gain this time. Much better defense by the Bobcats. As the defense was led that time by, I thought it was number 61. I was wrong on that number. It might be Dylan Westnick.
Okay. I had number 53, Cody Higgins, with a piece of the action also.
Second down, about 8 yards to go for Bay City Central, just underway in the third quarter. As Central runs twins to the near side of the field. As DeVell will be in motion. He cuts it upfield. He's got a little seam. He's down near that first down marker. Looks to me like he might have that first down just shy of the 15-yard line.
Real near the first down marker. Central got it going. They got Washington and Houston both in the mix right now. And when that isn't working, we got Elder grinding out about 3 or 4 yards at quarterback.
1st and 10 for the Bay City Central Wolves as they have come out offensively from their own 42-yard line in just a small handful of plays down inside the red zone for the John Glenn Bobcats. But the Bobcats are stingy.
You talked about setting the tone a little earlier, Jeff, and tell you what, a Central score here would be huge for the Wolves, and that would be a challenge for the Bobcats early on in the third quarter.
Elder gets the ball. Unique Houston gets between two defenders. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He's down to the goal line. Looks like he'll be stopped just shy of the goal line. And it will be 1st and goal from the 1. Unique just kept pushing forward. And he worked his way down to the 1-yard line. So Bay City Central just with an impressive start to the second half. Offensively down, tickling the goal line now. 1st and goal once again from the 1.
Houston running really hard tonight. I'm not going to be surprised if he gets the ball again here.
Well, he's picked up the lion's share. Elder pulls forward. He's into the end zone. It's a Bay City Central Wolf touchdown.
Well, you got Brian Elder, 6'4", 220 pounds. If you're inside the 1-yard line, a quarterback sneak isn't a bad call either, is it, Jeff?
Well, and up under center, it's pretty safe. You don't have to worry about the exchange, and you don't have to worry about the snap being good. Now Bay City Central will attempt the extra point. Well, you look at the extra point and field goals for Central over the last 3-4 years with Welter now in here. You've got to have quality kicking if you're in the Saginaw Valley League.
Definitely not something the Wolves are taking for granted at all. Yachuk and Richard are a solid kicking team.
The extra point is up and good. Time onto the field with 9:48 left in our third quarter of play. Bay City Central 14 and the John Glenn Bobcats nothing. Back in a moment on BCTV.
I guess. I go like this.
The best part about playing football in Texas has to be
the reaction from the community.
I want to encourage others to play volleyball or choir because you get to experience new things and do stuff that you've never done before. My reason why is passion.
My reason why is pride.
Back on Bay County TV, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. The Bay City Central student section is highlighted right now as they've just had a lot in the start of this third quarter to get excited about.
Terrific turnout tonight, and that is what we needed. These guys have had a very tough start to the season, 0-4, and these are tough guys, and they don't want a guy like me making excuses for them, but I'm going to say the obvious. Their schedule has been nuclear thus far.
There's a line drive that's going to be taken back by McKenzie. He's inside his own 15-yard line, gets back out to about the 16-yard line. Return game has not been one of the stronger points tonight for the John Glenn Bobcats, as that was a tough catch to make, as that ball was a line drive kickoff.
Got to credit to Bay City Central special teams also. They're getting the job done tonight.
So 1st and 10 from about the 16-yard line for the John Glenn Bobcats. As we're looking at the wind, and the wind has really subsided here in the second half. Let's see what that allows Joe Blong to be able to do offensively with trips to the wide side of the field. He takes the snap. Quick drop, and he gets that ball out on the outside. It is complete.
Joe Blong picking up where he left off. Looks like a 6-yard pickup for John Glenn.
You know, his success in the first half was more in the first quarter, so he must like throwing the ball this direction better than going the other way.
I think you're right. That was their best drive, heading north. I'm going to mention Bay City Central's schedule so far. They played a Final Four team in their opening game, Frankenmuth. They then moved to Mona Shores, who had knocked off the state champs the week before. Played a very tough Midland Dow team who should make the playoffs, and then Mount Pleasant, who is currently undefeated in the Valley. So that is a tough start for new coach Kevin Frederick and players under a new system.
As that rush with the Fredenberg, not much there. Bay City Central very stingy and stubborn on defense. You know, when you strap it up in the Saginaw Valley League every week, you better bring your A game.
Absolutely.
As both Central and John Glenn are not having the success that they would like, but both looking to finish strong on the season. 3rd down at about 5 yards to go. Joe Blong has twins to both sides again. Back to pass, it's complete, and it's just past the 1st down marker out to the 26-yard line. Pinpoint accuracy from Joe Blong on the controlled passing game.
Long throws another strike. And a 1st down for John Glenn, I believe.
Yes, it will be.
So these kids these days, of course, they put together these highlight reels to send off to colleges, and I'm thinking Joe Blong has a lot of stuff to send away for tonight.
He definitely, though, is utilizing the conditions of the field by throwing more of the controlled passing, but when you've got a tight spiral, it doesn't get greatly affected by the wind.
And I think beyond stats and beyond completions and such, I think what college scouts and coaches really appreciate is composure and generalship on the field. And that's, among all things, that's what Joe Blong is really showing us tonight, I think.
He's a great individual. Bay City Central with a tough defense. And that looked like Monville back there with the, again, behind the line of scrimmage tackle for a loss of a couple of yards, 2nd down and 12. Job actually had nowhere to go there as Monville was inside his shirt.
5 tackles and counting for Monville. He is going to be a thorn in the side of the John Glenn offensive line for the rest of the night, I got to believe.
2nd and long. See if they don't go to a bubble screen here. The formation is set for one. They're going to run a little wheel route with Wilshide, and Central coming with pressure. Did not allow it defensively for Bay City Central. Birdsell was not fooled at all as he caught Wilshide. That looked like the play that they were trying to get is that little wheel route to Wilshide, but Joe Blong never had enough time to try and execute it.
That's right. Wheel route to Wolshide. That's pretty good, Jeff.
I better slow down as I try and say that in the future. 3rd down now and about 14 yards to go as the Central defense with 2 tackles for loss in consecutive plays are really starting to pin their ears back and get after Joe Blong.
Number 10, Xavier Hoyt, got a piece of that last sack for the Wolves.
Here comes Central with a look again at 5. They go back into coverage. Here comes Central again as Joe Blong is able to get away. Nothing for him to throw to, and he steps out of bounds to avoid another loss, a gain on the play of about a yard. Another great stand for Central. 3 plays with your quarterback going out of bounds for a 1-yard gain and 2 tackles for loss, I would say is a pretty good defensive series.
I'm saying the end of that first half, when that defensive stand took place, I think Central jumped a couple of notches on defense there. That was a terrific stand. Joe Blong did a tremendous job to escape the blitz there also.
He did get away from a couple of Central defenders, and he is back to punt. And he gets over a lazy end-over-end kick, and Unique Houston thought about it and decided against it. And I'll tell you what, Coach Frederick is glad he decided against it, as he took 2 or 3 long looks at that thing. And, you know, the thing about a football, Mike, is it does not take consistent bounces very often.
That's true. I'm sitting about 75 yards away from upwards to 600 Bay City Central fans, and I could feel a collective sigh of relief there, Jeff.
Well, we could feel the exhale from their wind as
right.
It came over in unison. Don't do it, don't do it. Oh. But the Bobcats were all standing around. As soon as that ball got touched, it would have been potentially dislodged. So Bay City Central with another good start offensively, 2 yards short of where they started their first possession here in the third quarter. As Houston tries to get to the outside, look at the safety support from the John Glenn Bobcats. Joe Blong came up with a statement hit defensively and stopped Unique Houston in his tracks.
Absolutely filled the gap there. That off tackle play with Houston has been working for the Wolves, but not so much on that one. Nice play by Long on defense.
I absolutely like the way he comes up and finishes. Joe, just an impressive player on offense, defense, special teams. He makes popcorn. He sells dogs. He plays in the band. He kid does it all. We got DeVell Washington trying to come around the corner, showing a little bit of patience, and he gets rocked from the backside by number 53 on the play, and that is Cody Higgins.
Number 54, Mason McLean, also in on that tackle. Wanted to mention something. I haven't seen John Glenn for about 364 days, and one thing I remember from that night is how well coached this team is, how well disciplined they are. They have gap discipline. They are extremely well disciplined as far as staying in the play. As we saw with Houston on that punt return just a while ago, they were ready to jump all over it if the other team makes a mistake.
Third down now, about 5 yards to go for Bay City Central. Got the slot to the wide side with DeVell. Oh! Nice little controlled route to number 21, Jacob Morse. And that thing slipped right through the old hands.
Yes, it did.
Hit him right in the face mask.
Elder put it on the dough there. Those are the kind of catches you got to make in a game like this.
Well, again, though, Elder had a little bit of mustard on that.
Yeah.
So the Bobcats come up with a stop defensively, and they're going to get their hands back on the ball. For one of the few times tonight, number 3 for John Glenn, Joe Blong comes off the field for a quick blow.
Get that guy a drink of water, I think.
Well, and that's exactly what you need to do. I mean, you got to find a time to get them off for 2-3 minutes just so that they can recharge the battery. I know they're Energizer bunnies, all systems go, but you got to give them just a little bit of a blow. We'll see if that pays dividends for the Bobcats on their next offensive possession. Jacek back. He's going to be able to get rid of the ball. And that's going to be a real short kick, but look at the bounce. It takes a nice, hearty bounce and will roll down to the 26-yard line. So there is a 30-yard kick over what could have been disaster.
Absolutely. Jacek, again, that's a guy they're not going to take for granted back at punter. He had a 25-yard punt earlier. It's the best 25 punt you're ever going to see. That is the best 35-yard punt you're ever going to see. That could have been a big problem for Central.
And a lot of times as a punter, the biggest problem is you can get caught flat-footed and not be able to elevate for that ball. He was able to go up and tip it back to himself.
Absolutely. And John Glenn, being the well-disciplined team that I mentioned, they are ready to pounce on a mistake.
As Joe Blong looks over his wristband. He had that little blow on the sidelines. How will that go with the John Glenn Bobcat offense? Central looks like they're coming with pressure again. Ball carrier on the play is number 46, and that's Nathan Jacobs. Central
Jacobs grinds out about 2 on that play. Morrison on the tackle.
Bay City Central's defense again is stingy. And John Glenn is not in a situation where they really want to spend a lot of time running the football, but you have to keep the defense honest. You can't just pass, and have those linemen pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. So that's a purpose run, and that's got value even with a 2-yard gain.
That's exactly right. Long, of course, is a gifted passer, but if you're going to throw 40 to 50 passes a game, as Woody Hayes used to say, when you pass, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad.
Yes, indeed. There was only one Woodrow Hayes, that's for sure. Joe Blong back, 3-step drop. He gets rid of the ball in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Looked like that intended receiver was number 26, Fredenberg.
Central secondary doing a nice job of making him hear footsteps. As I mentioned earlier, receivers, that is the biggest challenge for them, going down the middle and keeping your composure and catching that pass.
Sometimes when you go across the middle, Mike, your arms shorten up just a little bit. I didn't say that happened there, but that certainly can happen, and it's certainly natural that when you got a safety bearing down your straights that you got to catch that ball and trying to avoid the big hit. There's a lot going through a young man's mind.
Absolutely. And to tell you the truth, I'm sitting way up here in the press box, and when I see a receiver do that, my elbows kind of go to my ribs.
Joe Blong trying to make something happen. He throws that ball downfield and forced to throw it away again. Central has been effective with pressure in this third quarter, not allowing Joe Blong to feel comfortable. And he just runs out of real estate on the wide side of the field. Very well defended once again by the Central Wolves. 3 and out for the Bobcats.
Terrific defensive stand. That is 2 now for the Wolves. Again, Central gaining confidence on defense with every single down now, it seems.
3:24 left in our third quarter of play. As Joe Blong will be back in punt formation on 4th and 8 from their own 28. I would not think Central's going to come hard after this kick, but I don't want to guesstimate. As Job nearly has that thing knocked away again, and that thing hits and will roll down to about the 42-yard line as Bay City Central's number 10 again. Hoyt just about got to Joe Blong. He waited till the last split second to kick that ball away. You know, Mike, while we've got a second here with 3:14 left in the third, I'd like to send a very special hello out to Mike Quizdala, Grandpa Mike.
Quiz.
The first time grandfather of a nice son, and we couldn't be happier for him, but we're elated that you could come and assist tonight, taking his spot.
I'll tell you, Jeff, besides about 70 players, a dozen coaches, and a happy grandfather playing with his first grandchild, you're talking to the most excited guy in Bay County tonight. Thank you for letting me cross something off my bucket list.
Well, you did it last year with us with wrestling. Now you can cross football off. Who knows what's next?
That's right.
Unique Houston with another gain on the play of about 11 yards down to the 47-yard line of the John Glenn Bobcats. Boy, I'll tell you, Central appears through the start of this third quarter to have gone in at halftime and found something that works for them here in the third quarter.
Yes, they have. And that thing that works, that's number 3, Unique Houston. He's got 90 yards so far and a touchdown for the Wolves. He seems to be the go-to tonight right now.
Well, and after that fumble, he has really taken care of the possession of the football. And Central with twins to the near and twins to the wide. I think they're going to ride the Unique train here as long as they can. Unique comes forward. A little bit of a problem with the exchange. Might have thrown the timing of that play off a split second. I'm going to credit great defense from the John Glenn Bobcats to slam the door on just a modest gain of a couple of yards. 2nd and 8 for Central.
Unique Houston, I don't know if you mentioned this, Jeff. He's the younger brother of Andre Houston, who also ran the ball for Bay City Central a few years back.
Pretty effectively.
Pretty effectively. He is Andre, I believe, is his senior year at Olivet, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And playing some ball there.
That is correct. Twins to both sides of the field again. Elder gets that ball out, and DeVell Washington might have been spinning upfield just prior to catching that pass, slid through the fingertips. It was a high pass, but a catchable ball. It'll be 3rd down and 8 for Bay City Central.
I got to tell number 12, Brian Elder, hitting the receivers in the hands. They're going to have to hold on to some of those for him.
DeVell goes out of the game right now too. He stood there after the miss, and I don't know if he got bumped after the play or what, but he went to the sideline and is being looked at right now as Elder looks at a 3rd down and 8 to go situation. Clock stopped with 1:58 left after the incomplete pass.
Boy, I have to say this is a fast game tonight. Very few timeouts. A lot of running plays, and a loose ball in the backfield recovered by Elder.
Boy, bad errant snap, and Elder did the only smart thing that you can do as a quarterback. Don't try and pick it up and make a play. Just jump on it and live for another down. As Jacek will be back there, and you know his last couple of kicks have been adventures, so he's all systems go.
Absolutely. I got to believe as far as punters in the Valley, this guy's got the inside track for All Valley first team right now. He's done some good stuff, and not just tonight getting off these punts, but throughout the season.
As he gets another one of those great kicks. Wolfside picks it up, trying to make a play. Picks up 7 or 8 on the return out to about the 24-yard line before the Bay City Central Wolves special teams come up with another big play. Amongst others, how about Cripps with the number 75 with the tackle on special teams. Don't believe we've had a chance to call his name yet tonight.
Number 75, Shea Cripps. Terrific special teams tonight. Jacek with a 46-yard punt there.
So his average tonight might not look like as some of his other nights, but the 25 and the 30-yard punt he got off were 2 of the best he'll have all year long.
Absolutely.
Joe Blong, $1:14 left in the 3rd. Still plenty of time for the Bobcats to get a couple of scores with trips to the wide side. Joe Blong coming back. Perfect screen set up to number 46 on the play. Beautifully done as Nathan Jacobs.
Terrific call, well executed.
And again, Central defense really leaning towards those trips to the wide side of the field. And a very well called and well executed play for a moving of the chains. 13-yard gain out to the 37. 1st and 10 for the John Glenn Bobcats with a buck left in our 3rd. Joe Blong looks over the wristband.
Checking the sleeve.
Again, trips to that wide side of the field. Central looking to defend that with just a 4-man rush. Joe Blong with that pitch to the outside.
Oh, terrific pursuit.
And that has to be Monville out there. I don't even need to look for a number.
Absolutely.
That is number 81, Mr. Monville. And Cameron just absolutely had that played. You get the D end making the quarterback make a quick decision, and then in space, Monville just ran that play down.
Tackle number 6 for Monville. And I used to play defense a long time ago, Jeff, and what I remember about it is on defense, leaders emerge. And it's looking like Monville is emerging as that defensive leader tonight. That defense is discovering their identity, doing a real nice job against a very, very good quarterback and a well-disciplined offense.
And Jacobs really couldn't do much as we have got a whistle for a stoppage.
Might be the end of the 3rd quarter. Yes, it is.
Quarter ended just before the play. At the end of 3 quarters, Bay City Central 14, John Glenn nothing. Back in a moment for the final 12 right here on Bay County TV.
Ow, ow, ouch! My hip, my knee, my joints feel out of whack. Ow, ow, oh my! The pain, I can't take it anymore.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. And boy, you always got to love it when you can look over on the opposing side and Guy Lohr and the Booster Club have got a concession stand set up for the Central people so they don't have to come all the way over. The other thing that's nice about that, Mike, is you keep the fans on both sides, their own side. Not that there's any issues, but you just really eliminate one more thing from the intermingling at the concession area.
That's a great point. That's the first time I noticed that. And I wouldn't, with Matt Schmidt being the superintendent here at John Glenn Schools, I would not want to be surprised at all if that wasn't part of the play there.
It certainly has worked out well as Joe Blong on a second down and long comes back. He's running for his life, and he is not going to get back to the line of scrimmage as Bay City Central's defense is really taking the next step forward tonight and not allowed Joe much time to make anything happen.
I'm trying to get the number of that sack there. I believe that was number 10, Xavier Hoyt, on the blitz for the Wolves.
And Hoyt is a little bit undersized as a DN, but that quickness got him into the backfield in a hurry. Central into a prevent mode now with only a 3-man defensive line rush. And I'm sure they'll have a spy on Joe Blong as well. Third down now and about 17. Job trying to run forward, still can't make it back to the line of scrimmage. Look at number 10 once again in the backfield.
Option carry did not fool the Wolves defense, particularly number 10, Xavier Hoyt, tackle number 4. You mentioned he's undersized, but he's a gamer. He's one of those grinders that I mentioned before. I remember that guy playing for the South End Wolves, which seems like not too long ago. And he was a presence back then, ages 10 to 12.
Boy, for the John Glenn Bobcats, they're not in a position here. What do we got? Timeout Bay City Central. Then you're going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 players on the field. The coaching staff either on the field or upstairs did their count, did their homework, and said, we're going to take a timeout before we end up with a silly 15-yard penalty for illegal participation. We'll take a quick break and be back in a moment on Bay County TV.
Another fall Friday night, and your kids should be
playing high school football.
It's a fun game and it's safer than ever.
It's safe because the rules, the coaching, and the equipment are better than ever before.
As a result, serious injuries are at an all-time low. Seriously.
And builds
Strong schools, lifetime memories, and tomorrow's community leaders.
and it's mother approved.
It's a great game, and we want to teach it to your kids.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you, Jared Doan, Nick Page upstairs. On the cameras, Natalie Doan producing and directing. We got 13 players from Central. That can be pretty effective defensively if you can get away with it.
That's true. I don't think I've been watching football since 1974. I've never seen a team get away with 13, but worth a try, right?
As Joe Blong is going to get rid of that ball, just got it off again. And this one does not take the normal Joe Blong roll. It goes backwards. Looked like one of Mike Wasdala's 9-irons and hits at the 35 and rolls back to the 38.
He can put action on a 9-iron?
He can.
Okay.
I can't put action on any of them except find the water or find the sand.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's my action. 1st and 10 for Bay City Central. Right now, it should be pretty easy for the John Glenn Bobcats to predict what Bay City Central is going to bring offensively to the table.
Well, you got to believe Houston is in the mix. But again, Central's mixing it up pretty well here. They're, as you said, they're putting Washington in motion as a decoy, and when they seem to be closing Houston down, then they go to Washington. And if that doesn't work, Elder's going to grind out 3 or 4.
DeVell back into the game as Houston picks up a couple of yards and gets a whole lot of attention. No short of 6 or 7 Bobcats in on that tackle.
Now at Engel Stadium, we call that, we call us, our gang tackles, a pack of wolves. So over here, I think we can call them a clouder of cats. How about that? Brought down by a clouder of cats.
I'm going to tell you what, you got the thesaurus out again tonight.
Had to Google that one.
Oh, no, you got that right in the frontal lobe. You stored that for the perfect moment. 2nd down, 8 yards to go for Bay City Central. They're taking their time right now, and you are going to look, and they still have not got anybody indicating that there are 10 seconds left, so lots of time offensively. As they go unique, Houston on a counter play coming to the outside. He's got a little room as he dips down to the 43-yard line and gets out of bounds before Joe Blong can put the hit on him. But I'm going to tell you what, He has got speed to the outside that you cannot simulate in a week's practice. There's nobody on John Glenn that can go legit with that 4.4 speed. And when you think you're in perfect position defensively and you end up being a step short of where you need to be, that tells you how fast the Unique is.
Definitely hard to practice against that guy. And I'd go, not only it would be hard to find a guy to simulate that speed around here, you'd have to look very hard to find anybody to simulate that speed across the state of Michigan.
Well, and Unique, the only thing you want done different with that play at the end is don't dip out of bounds. You want to stay in bounds to keep that clock running. Unique again, he gets away from the first hit. He's well over 100 yards now as he picks up 9 more on first down. He's got to be close to 115 yards rushing.
You're about right on the money, Jeff. I got him for 113.
Well, my abacus does work pretty well.
Wow, you've been doing this for a long time. Wanted to quickly mention, I heard Morley Frazier, Coach Frazier of the Wolves, was in the booth last week with Mike Guisdella. Also wanted to mention we saw Coach Frazier at the JV game last night. All smiles, looking terrific, having a great retirement, and we said hello to him at the game and got a real nice cheer from the Wolves fans.
Well, and where is he this weekend? He is down in Albion being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I did not even know that. Yes. He didn't mention that last night. Well deserved.
He's a humble guy, but I'll tell you, he's very worthy of the accolades. Real class act. Unique Houston again, that uncanny ability to make the first person miss. Late penalty flag coming down as the first down is obtained at the 30-yard line. See what the line judge has got for us here. Going to have Central with a hold, I believe, is a preliminary indication.
Yep, you called it, Jeff.
And that will be a penalty from the 30-yard line, so they'll move that ball back to the 40-yard line, replay second down, and it'll be second down and 8 yards to go from the 40.
Boy, I'll tell you, it looks like right now, just as Central is about to get the nail about halfway into the coffin, something happens. Either a little mental error here or there, or a big play by John Glenn. The Bobcats are hanging in there just like they did last year.
Boy, I'm looking at the flag right now, and it just started blowing. It was laying fairly limp, so a big difference from those 30-plus mile-an-hour gusts that we had in the first half. A little pro set look here for the Central Wolves as they hand that ball to DeVell Washington, trying to turn around the corner. His speed to the outside gets inside the 30-yard line, or they're going to have him out of bounds right at the 30-yard line. It's going to be enough to move the sticks. And another 1st and 10 for the Bay City Central Wolves, as that 1-2 combination in the second half has really hurt the Bobcats defensively.
And I'll tell you, I think you had a mental vibe there with DeVell Washington. Not too long ago, you said maybe that he should lower his shoulder and make a statement. He did there right on the sideline there. Picked up 10 yards plus 1 with a big hit.
Well, the extra yard was the one that moved the sticks. So nice job by DeVell to finish. 8:21 left in the ball game. Clock stopped because he was out of bounds. Central just 10 yards away from red zone again. And boy, since that stop at the goal line late in the first half, Central has really dominated this football game.
This is a different team right here than we've seen over on the other side of the river for the last 5 weeks.
Elder on the keeper, bangs forward, and he picks up almost 15 yards. Now the defense is so tuned into where Unique is because he's got 113 yards that the inside backer follows that motion, and a little RPO. He just pulls it back out of Unique's belly and takes it straight forward, moving the sticks again down 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line.
And old number 12, Brian Elder, running downhill there, looked pretty solid. I would not want to have gotten in front of that guy.
As Elder again, he falls forward for 2 more after being hit and picks up 7 yards. Boy, you could just see the defense swarming to Unique, and they're just kind of really tuned in to try and stop Unique, and a great last 2 calls by the Central coaching staff.
Yes, it is. This is something I got to say Coach Kevin Frederick has added to Brian Elder's bag of tricks, putting the running game into play. Last season, Brian Elder did not run the ball very often at all, and this year it's part of the mix.
Well, we're going to take a break. One of the Bobcats injured on the field. Back in a moment for the final 7.5 right after this on Bay County TV.
AAA Transport and Limousine is the Great Lakes Bay region's most reliable and requested transportation service. For over a decade, we have been helping our clients to get to their destination on time, in style, and comfort. AAA's services include non-emergency medical transport, wheelchair accessible, school transportation, and shuttle services. We strive to provide exceptional customer service and tailor our fleet to meet your individual needs. Rest assured that you are in safe hands when you ride with AAA Transport and Limousine. To set up your next appointment, give us a call at 989-893-8294.
Here we are back as we look at the trees around the stadium. And the old wind is starting to pick back up here in gust. It's changed directions now. It's kind of coming out of the north and west. As Bay City Central says, I don't think it'll affect any passes here because it's 2nd down and 3 yards to go. As Unique Houston with a dip to the outside, able to get away from that first tackler, staying on his feet, spinning down to about the 3-yard line before he's finally knocked out of bounds.
My goodness.
His ability in this second half to make the first man miss has been a huge factor.
That's right. I believe he broke about 3 tackles in that 6-yard run there. Ball spotted at the 3-yard line. Looks like 1st and goal for the Wolves.
When your defensive backs are your leading tacklers in the second half, that's not a good sign for how things are going.
You got a problem. That's right.
Central's going to have a 1st and goal from about the 3-yard line. Is there no hurry right now at 7:04 left in the ball game to get to the offensive line?
Tremendous drive by the Wolves.
As Coach Frederick calls out the play. And they're going to get that play off just in time. As DeVell Washington, he's tickling the end zone. He's into the end zone. It's a Bay City Central Wolf touchdown.
And DeVell Washington putting his shoulder down again. There was nothing denying the end zone from that guy.
That was the type of finish that you love to see from a 6'4", 220-pound ball carrier.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, with 7 minutes left, nothing is certain, but the way that the Central defense has been able to contain John Glenn, they have got a monumental task to come back with 3 scores here in the last 7 minutes.
Central has taken full control of this game with 7 minutes to go.
Extra point is up, and it's plenty good from Jacek. Time out of the field with 7 minutes left in the ball game. Central 21 and John Glenn nothing. Back in a moment on Bay County TV.
You're up. There's an old saying, you can never have too many officials. The age of the average official is 52 and getting older all the time. We're constantly recruiting new people, younger people to join us. After you register with the MHSAA, look on the website to find an officials association near you. They'll put you in a position to succeed as an official. We all learned a lot from high school sports, and officiating is a great way to give back to the game. There's help wanted, just whistle.
Touchdown, Falcons.
As they got the lights lit up over there, it's kind of a cool thing that they were able to do. I don't know if they did that earlier, Mike, and I just missed it, but they've all got the white lights up and waving it back and forth after a Central touchdown.
Turning the lights on for this season.
Well, they've waited 4.5 games to turn it on, but they certainly have made a statement here in this game, and it will be very interesting to see what this statement does for the second half of their season.
The 0-4, as I mentioned earlier, Central had a brutal first 4 games. They are looking to run the table, and 5-4 in Division II football tends to be a possible playoff spot, kind of a 50-50 thing when you're 5-4. So I guarantee you, one of their goals was to make the playoffs this year, and that is not off the table yet.
Boy, one of the better returns for the John Glenn Bobcat puts them in pretty good field position out near the 32-yard line, where they'll have an opportunity to start things off. But they've got to go into pass-happy mode in the Again, the wind is picking back up, but the wind has changed from the west, kind of coming out of the northwest now. So it should be a little bit more at the back of Joe Blong. See if that gives him a few more options offensively. The only problem is, has he had time to do anything back there? He's been running for his life.
That's the thing. The wind hasn't been a problem for Joe Blong tonight, but the defensive line for Bay City Central has been a problem. If they're going to do something, now is the time, I believe.
Job with a nice controlled pass, and there'll be a gain on the play of about 9 yards. And that's Wolfscheid.
Nice 9-yard strike to his favorite receiver.
He came into the ball game with 30 receptions for 254 yards. And he's had at least a half a dozen again tonight. So he's on pace, as Lee Thompson pointed out earlier this week, for a potential 60-catch season, which is phenomenal at the high school level. Joe Blong, and the quarterback keeper, gets the first down and more, and smart enough to get out of bounds prior to the hit and stopping the clock.
Boy, terrific composure by this junior.
Like to thank Todd Thunberg and Lee Thompson both for their efforts in getting us the statistics needed to make this game happen. Of course, Lee Thompson's always been one of our favorites, an old handy Wildcat that just has a great passion in M-Live sports, and we are also very appreciative of his efforts.
I don't know if I ever told you, Jeff, I had a college class at Central Michigan University with Lee Thompson. Remember, I had him in he was in my creative writing class. I was in his creative writing class.
You guys were creatively writing together. It's a thing of beauty. Joe Blong's going to need to take a timeout, as they were a little bit perplexed offensively. And Bay City Central is very jubilant right now. They've still got another 5:56 of the ball game as the clock needs to stop.
I tell you, I'm going to tell you what the Central coaches are telling their players right now. They're telling them what happened last year and about these gutsy John Glenn Bobcats.
Well, right now, if you say one word from the Central huddle right now, it would be finish.
Absolutely. Do not let up.
Do not allow what happened last year, but the Bobcat offense is very, very potent. And this will be a quick timeout. We'll take a quick break and be right back in a moment on Bay County TV.
My name is Tom Izzo, the men's basketball coach at MSU. The threat of school violence is something that affects everyone and needs to be taken seriously. Okay to Say is a confidential way you can report anything that threatens your safety or the safety of others. If you see or hear something that doesn't seem right, submit a tip to OK to Say. You can call, text, email, go online, or use the OK to Say app. You could be the one person who helps to prevent a tragedy.
As the cheerleaders are trying to spur that offense on, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent back with you. Jared Doan and Nick Page upstairs on the cameras. Natalie Doan producing and directing. Here comes Central with a jailbreak and a perfect defense for Bay City Central as they sent 3 to the quarterback, and they had a spy sitting back there in the name of Max Tomczak that absolutely had the running back screen snuffed out.
5 tackles now for Tomczak. Had to believe that screen pass was on Central's film. They seem to be ready for that. Really good play call, and it looked like it was open just for a second, and Central closed it down.
Boy, when you see 3 people get through that cleanly, you got to think screen right away, because you don't normally see 3 get through without any obstruction. 2nd down and 10. Joe Blong under pressure again and has to get rid of that ball.
Oh, they're going to call a penalty on him.
And it'll be a penalty potentially on Hoyt, I believe, coming with that hit.
Yep, that was number 10, Xavier Hoyt. And I'll tell you from here, without the advantage of instant replay, I thought it was a pretty clean hit. I thought Hoyt hit him as he was throwing. Referee called it, though.
Well, it had to have been the finish on the tackle. And I watched the initial hit, then I followed the ball. But a lot of times now, when you finish that hit, if you intend to drive somebody in, that is not what they're looking for in a tackle. So, and a referee's only job on that play is to protect the quarterback after he does not care where the flight of the ball is. He's zoned in. He did his job. The 15-yard penalty gives new life to the Bobcats. Let's see what they can do to make the best of it. Joe Blong back again. He's got pressure. This time the same person as before. That is the third tackle for a loss that I know of in this ball game by Hoyt.
Yep, number 10, Xavier Hoyt with a sack and tackle number 5.
So 3 of those 5 tackles for loss of yardage, and the clock continues to roll. Now 4:40 and counting left in the ball game.
Tell you what I like about that with Xavier Hoyt. He got called with that personal foul that was a little bit questionable. I think you'll grant that, but he had a very short memory there. Didn't let it get him down. He was right in on the next play.
Well, he's got a motor, that is for sure. Now he's coming on the inside. Well thrown ball, unique. Houston goes up and over the top of Woolside and knocks that ball away. Picture perfect positioning defensively that time by Unique Houston.
Well covered by Houston, well covered by the secondary. Central's defense, again, are having the game of the season. This is the game they needed. Don't know if we mentioned it during on the airtime tonight, Jeff, but this rivalry goes back 3 decades now, and John Glenn 3-0. Obviously don't want to go 4-0. Or don't want to go 3-1, and Central trying to get their first franchise win against the John Glenn Bobcats.
Central will take a timeout. We'll take one as well and be back in a moment on Bay County TV.
Where did this rash come from? Hold on, let me see. Could be bed bugs. Oh. Mom, Grant says I have bed bugs.
Let's see what the doctor says.
Introducing Covenant Virtual Care. Real-time video doctor visits, e-prescriptions, and follow-up. Now extraordinary care comes to you.
See, it's just poison ivy. Smart pants.
Learn more at covenantvirtualcare.com.
Back here on Bay County TV, Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. It's 3rd down and long for the Bobcats. 3rd and 14 yards to go. As the Bobcats are 4 minutes and 21 seconds away. They've got to get 3 scores on the board. Actually, time to throw the ball. Joe Blong decides he's going to hold on and try and make something happen. The Central defense just contained and would not allow him to go. Prevost stayed there, did not go with the pump fake, and then he closed and finished.
Number 22, Ben Prevost making the big sack for the Wolves. Here's the other thing about this Central defense tonight, which I think is the story of the night. It's not 1 or 2 guys dominating the deal. This is the whole defensive effort.
I would say there's 2 players defensively between Hoyt and Monville are the 2 that I feel have done the best, but you're right,
Sure.
A great team effort defensively, getting hats to the football. 4th down and a bunch. The Bobcats have got to convert to maintain any hope of getting back into this football game. What do they got riled up here on 4th and 17? Plenty of time to throw the football. Joe Blong is running for his life, and Central absolutely collapses the pocket. And the coaching staff from Bay City Central is about 5 to 10 yards on the field, jumping for joy. Ben Tomke amongst that group, just elated at the effort that defense has put up in this second half.
Number 22, Ben Prevost with another sack for the Wolves.
But 2 in a row for Mr. Prevost. And Bay City Central right now is going to stay pretty close to the cup. They'll be running the football. Will it be Houston? Will it be Washington? Will it be Elder? Any one of those 3 have had success here in the second half.
I think 1st, 2nd, and or 3rd down, you just called it there, Jeff, in one way or another.
I believe that you probably are just going to see one of 2 people, and that's Brian Elder not having to hang it off. And again, not handing it off and rolling forward. He's hit after about a yard upfield and is able to put that 6'5" frame forward for almost 2 more yards.
Brian Elder last year, the all-time record-setting passing yards in one season.
Well, that goes back how many decades?
My goodness, back to the 1920s. The guy the record that he took over was Jerry Gross from the late 1950s.
Yep.
Who went on to star at Wayne State, I believe, or the University of Wayne State.
Wayne State. Yep.
And had some looks by the pros in the late 1950s, but turns out Jerry Gross is about 5'7", $155, $160.
Back then, that was adequate.
Yeah.
As Houston gets the ball on the outside, stutter steps. He's able to turn the corner. He's downfield and just steps out of bounds as he ran out of real estate at the 28-yard line. And the white lights for the Central student section are illuminating the night right now with 2:20 left in the ball game.
That's right. What did President Ronald Reagan used to say in the 1980s? It's morning in Bay City again. 130 yards tonight for Unique Houston.
But 2 weeks in a row where Unique has got the offensive stats rolling. And the offensive line has to play a big part in making the holes there for him to run through.
Central offensive line chewing up cement and spitting out sidewalks tonight.
It's 1st and 10 for the Wolves. As I think that the John Glenn defense has spent so much time on the field, they're just getting exhausted right now. As Elder goes forward, and he's only going to pick up a couple of yards on the play. Very good defense that time by, amongst others, number 53, Cody Higgins.
Higgins with number 4 tonight. Had a quick funny story about the center, Dan Elder, who is the younger brother of Brian Elder, the quarterback. So I have Dan in class and asked him, I said, how do you feel about your older brother standing behind you for the first third of your junior year screaming at you? And Dan Elder said, makes me appreciate the shotgun.
As my producer and director has just ably pointed out that Hayden Yachek is now the quarterback and not Elder.
Yachek in now.
So they tossed him in there, and that's why Natalie gets paid the big bucks, to produce, direct, point things out to her dad.
Thank you, Natalie.
As we're going to have a delay of game penalty against Bay City Central. That'll make it 2nd down and 14 yards to go. As Hayden is a 3-sport athlete, love to watch his 3-point stroke in basketball, and I'm going to tell you what, he can hit the baseball too.
Absolutely. I remember him back in Little League Baseball when my sons played. He was a big hitter, big hitter. Also has had some time at quarterback this year for Bay City Central. He's been getting in for cleanup detail in the 4th quarter and hit a few big passes.
Well, and you get a little grooming for next year, which is not a bad thing. So 2nd down now and about 14 yards to go. Yachek on the keeper. He's going to turn it upfield. Looks like he got back most of the 5-yard penalty from the delay of game. And down to the 28-yard line. Tacklers led by number 54 on the play, Wesenick, along with number 9, William Osdeck.
McLean in there for number 4 also for the Bobcats.
Oh, we got a late hanky. We got unsportsmanlike conduct from the John Glenn Bobcats, and that'll give the Central Wolves a 1st down. And I believe Central at this point may just go victory formation.
They can afford to do it right now. That's true.
And the thing I like about that, Mike, is you don't want anybody getting hurt in the last minute and 15 seconds of a ball game.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll see if Central does go to the knee. They'll start that clock.
If you're Coach Frederick, everything you needed to have happen this week has happened. So there's really no need to do anything but count your blessings, take a knee, and get started for next week.
Landon Richard with an opportunity. Another late hit by the John Glenn Bobcats. There's talk going back and forth, and a little swing goes from the John Glenn defense. I don't know if it'll be offsetting, but certainly frustration on the part of the John Glenn Bobcats. But they're teenage kids. You know, there might just be a little bit of yapping going on down there right now.
That's true. In a crosstown rivalry like this, that's the sort of thing you're going to see at the end of the game.
As it looks now, or nope, they're not going to. They're going to come up and see if he doesn't just take a knee. That's exactly the class thing to do. With 43 seconds left, Central will only need to snap the ball one more time.
That's true. And I think that's a smart play for many reasons. And the one I would mention is that you sure don't want to give these guys bulletin board material for next year. These John Glenn Bobcats do not go away.
Well, Bay City Central's just 20 ticks away from their first victory in this series. They're going to head back to their sidelines, jubilant. The offensive line really excited right now because they were able to put together their first complete football game of the season.
That's right. That's right. Coach Frederick has just got to be ecstatic tonight. He's replacing the all-time Bay City Central winningest coach. I think Coach Frazier had something like 216 wins, something like that. Kevin Frederick with number 1 now for the Wolves.
And that's all there is. There isn't any more. The final score in our ball game, 21-0, the Bay City Central Wolves over the John Glenn Bobcats. We'll be back in just a moment to put the wraps on this one right here on Bay County TV. Good evening and welcome back to the post-game show on Bay County TV. Jeff Doan and Mike Vincent along with you. And I am going to go to late in the first half to what I think is the key moment in the ball game, where a four straight stops from the 1-yard line kept that game 7-0 for Bay City Central. And I really think that ignited something in Bay City Central, and they finished the deal.
All right. I got to believe that defense at that point said, this is who we are. This is what we've been looking for. Now is the time to get this thing going. That was a huge play. You could see a different team in the second half than you saw in most of the first half because of that stand, I think.
Now, in that first quarter, Joe Blong was super efficient. He was throwing a tight ball in the wind. The receivers were catching it. After that first quarter, though, that connection disappeared, and that had something to do with the defensive front from Central putting pressure on.
I would have to say an accomplished quarterback like Joe Blong did not let the wind bother him, but he let 4 ferocious defensive linemen bother him. He didn't let him bother him. The defensive line made it happen tonight.
When you look at this second half, the offensive line really took charge of this game, and Unique Houston, with what you unofficially had around 130 yards rushing, really took over.
That's right. Started seeing that happening last week. Central had a tough one against Mount Pleasant, lost about 45-6, but we did see some things start happening on offense. That offensive line started opening up some holes against a very good Mount Pleasant Oilers team, and Houston had about 130 last week too. So things started blooming last week, and they started blooming a little higher this week.
Well, it was indeed an honor and a pleasure to have you here in Mike Wisdala's absence. Grandpa, congratulations. A new grandfather of a great little baby boy. We didn't get a name yet, but to have you step in on short notice, we are elated and thankful that you could help.
Jeff, I can't thank you enough. I told you earlier that I crossed something off my bucket list today, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I got to sit next to a Bay County Sports Hall of Fame inductee, and I hope I can make the dinner here a couple Sundays from now. Congratulations on that. It was a real pleasure working with you, and humbling.
Well, I'll tell you what, you did a superb job. We'll be glad if the opportunity arises to have you back for an encore performance.
I'll be here, Jeff.
So that about puts the wraps on it. On behalf of the whole crew, I'm Jeff Doan along with Mike Vincent, Jared and Natalie Doan doing the camera work, Nick Page producing and directing. Natalie did a little dabbling in the second half of the producing and directing as well. Have a great night, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.